The Grind, a Minnesota sports podcast.
This is The Grind, a Minnesota sports podcast, because it's been over 12,000 days since the Minnesota sports scene and one of the four major sports, for you offended Minnesota Lynx fans, have won a major title. The Minnesota Twins, Jack Morris, 1991. Welcome into the show. My name is Tim, and I'm the host of this podcast about Minnesota sports. It is a grind to be a Minnesota sports fan. But what's so exciting is that the Minnesota Vikings are opening training camp, and all players are expected to report this week, specifically tomorrow. And rookies and some veterans have already reported to the organization yesterday, on Sunday, God's Day. And on today's show, I've got a loaded list of topics. I first need to tell you to beware, because this is the particular part of year where we can't lose our SHIT because something looked really cool. So that's going to be the first topic. And then later, I'm going to share my Minnesota Vikings team awards going into this season. So all of that is happening on today's show. But first, I need to tell you about 5-Star Bath Solutions in Minneapolis, because they transformed our bathroom in 48 hours. New floor, new shower, new tub, new surround. We had a moldy bathroom, and it was disgusting and unhealthy, but we didn't want to wait 8 weeks for this bathroom project to get done. And then I found 5-Star Bath Solutions in Minneapolis, and they transformed our bathroom in 48 hours. Everything is new and different. We went from a single to a double sink, which we love. To wash your hands at the same time is phenomenal. A new mirror, vanity, countertops, floor, shower, surround, tub, everything. 5-Star Bath Solutions in Minneapolis gave us our bathroom masterpiece in 48 hours and increased the value of our home. Contact 5-Star Bath Solutions in Minneapolis to get your bathroom masterpiece done today. All right. Now, I need to explain why you need to beware. Training camp season is hype season. For every NFL organization, from the best to the worst, it is hype season. Because right now, it doesn't matter what you did last season, every single team going into the year has hope that it could be their year. Even the Cleveland Browns fans, an organization, thinks they could get one more good year out of Joe Flacco, or they think that Shedeur Sanders could be that guy they drafted in the 5th round. You go from the top of the league to the bottom of the league. That's what the NFL does. It gives every fan base and every organization hope that their team could be good. And what's so funny about that is that you start the season 0-2, and all the buildup, all the hype, all the excitement throughout the entire offseason of we drafted this guy, we signed this guy, we added this player or this coach, and our team's going to be different and it's going to look new. You start 0-2 and the season's basically over. It's so funny. There's so much hope, and yet that hope is taken away so quickly in the NFL if you start poorly. And that's the best part about the NFL. But this season, this part of the season is beware season. Because it's not just about the team releasing a video or some player or coach or manager speaking at a press conference hyping up McCarthy or the defensive line or the new offensive line. It's about those slow motion videos that Minnesota Vikings fans get boners over and lose their SHIT over. Because you watch a video enough times and you can start to convince yourselves that this is the year. I've done this before looking at houses. You look at a house enough times and you start to fall in love with the house before you even look at the house. You pull up Zillow and you pull up some houses and you start falling in love with the house before you even know what the house even is. Because just like training camp videos and just like Zillow pictures of houses, the crevices, the corners, the scrapes, the parts that you need to redo, the parts that you need to work on, the parts that you need to put projects towards is not showcased, is not focused. But then you start living in it, you start touring it, you start to see what's going on in preseason, and you start to see what's happening in the regular season. Then those areas that are not quite as refined as a training camp video or a Zillow picture isn't as crisp as you once thought it was. Look at this video that was posted a few days ago of J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson walking in slow motion, throwing the ball to each other. Ed Woodbury has, look at this throw. Oh, yeah. Minnesota Vikings fans just orgasmed watching J.J. McCarthy throw that pass. Oh, look at him walk with that little smile. Minnesota Vikings fans lose their stuff over this kind of thing. A quarterback throwing with no line, no defense. T.J. Hawkinson doing a simple in route. J.J. doing a simple out and then back in route. Vikings fans lose their... Oh, look at that spiral. Oh, look at that leap into the end zone. Look at the chemistry building between quarterback and wide receiver. This is what it takes to be great. That's why this is beware season. It is beware season. Because, oh, J.J. McCarthy dropping back to, slow motion. Oh, what a beautiful throw. With no defense, no lineman, no pass rush. Amazing throw. That throw is going to make J.J. McCarthy an elite quarterback. You've got to be careful. Because if you watch that video enough times, you can start to convince yourself that McCarthy is the best quarterback in the league. If you watch that video enough times, you can start to look past the obvious facts that McCarthy is going to be a first-year starter in the NFL and is going to be the youngest QB starting in the NFL this season. And that recipe, those ingredients do not produce a Super Bowl champion. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. Everyone's going to hate me like, oh, you're not a true fan. What is a true fan? I am a true fan. I look at things objectively and I say, you know what? This is a slow motion video that's trying to get the Minnesota Vikings fans excited, which it is. It is getting them excited. It is doing what it was meant to do by creating hype and excitement around the organization. And you look at the team and the roster and the additions and the free agents, and it seems like everything should come together to produce a champion this season. But you also have to look at things objectively. And as exciting as it is to have J.J. McCarthy be QB1, which I'm excited for as well, you cannot look past the obvious facts of the situation and understand that teams with a QB J.J. McCarthy's age and with J.J. McCarthy's experience do not win Super Bowls in their first year. And the average winner of QBs to win Super Bowls the last 10 years is like 33 years old. McCarthy is going to be 23 in late January. So just beware of slow-mo Kyle Anderson season, because you watch the slow motion video and it's easy to get excited and it's easy to lose grasp of reality. Just like a Zillow picture can make you fall in love with the house, you've got to be careful about these slow motion videos. Just saying. It's training camp season, which means it's slow-mo season. Okay. Minnesota Vikings team awards. But first I need to tell you about Hoagland Farms beef, because their beef is the best in the market. Jared has rotationally grazed 100% grass-fed beef. You go to a store, you try to buy a steak or a chuck roast, and you're looking at $7 to $8 a pound. Hoagland Farms beef has it for around $4 a pound. Everything from 1 pound beefs to sirloin steaks to chuck roasts that are delicious. Hoagland Farms beef, 952-491-1541. Tell Jared that you heard about it from Tim, and he'll give you a little discount. Hoagland Farms, 952-491-1541 for the best rotationally grazed 100% grass-fed beef. Stop wondering what's in your beef. Contact Hoagland Farms and get the best. 952-491-1541. All right, team awards. This is kind of fun. I saw this on X the other day by the Purple Persuasion, the best Twitter account in the world. Not even close if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan. And he shared his team awards. And he quoted a tweet from Jordan Silveria, who considers himself a football junkie. So he started it. Purple Persuasion continued it. And now I'm going to continue as well. So it's team awards. You've got MVP, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved X Factor, the Skull Award, and Best Newcomer. And I've got my list. The Minnesota Vikings offensive line is my MVP of the 2025-2026 season, because the running game was better last year with Aaron Jones. But if McCarthy and the Vikings offense want to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish, the combinations of Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill need to produce at a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. To get the whole play action thing going, to get the whole run game going, to alleviate pressure from the passing game. The MVP of the season for the Vikings is the offensive line. The Rookie of the Year, this one's pretty obvious, Donovan Jackson. I looked at the picks the Vikings selected in the 2025 NFL draft, and Donovan Jackson is going to be the only player that gets minutes, gets starting opportunities on a consistent basis. So he's the Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. The Offensive Player of the Year, this one's easy, Justin Jefferson. Best wide receiver in football, arguably, and easily the best wide receiver in football that does not bring drama with him, which is why I would choose him over any wide receiver in the league. Defensive Player of the Year. Now, this one's tricky because you've got a lot of different pieces to this puzzle. Could be Byron Murphy, could throw in Josh Metellus, that's a Swiss Army knife. could bring in one of the new players like Jonathan Allen or Javon Hargrave or Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard, who had good seasons last year. My opinion goes to Blake Cashman. I love me some Blake Cashman. When the Vikings were playing their best football last year, defensively, Blake Cashman was steering the ship, calling out shifts, calling out the plays. Blake Cashman is the defensive player of the year for the Minnesota Vikings. Most improved. Now, this one's tricky because you can go a lot of different directions on this one, but also not really. Because Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, those guys aren't going to be most improved. They had pretty good seasons last year. I saw someone write Jeff Okudah. I think that was the Purple Persuasion. Yeah, Jeff Okudah is what the Purple Persuasion wrote. Very good name, and hard to disagree with that name. My name goes to Jalen Nailor. With Jordan Addison's suspension likely coming, because although he got off on a lesser scale, call it like a wet dream or something like that, wet driving, he's still going to get disciplined from the NFL. So most improved Jalen Nailor. He was wide receiver 3 last year, but in the first few games of the season, when Addison got injured, Jalen Nailor was a very competent wide receiver 2. And Jalen Nailor kind of plays that KJ Osborne role. KJ Osborne was wide receiver 3, but had moments where he could step in and be wide receiver 2. When the Vikings had the comeback against the Indianapolis Colts down 33-0, KJ Osborne was a major contributor to that comeback. And with Addison being suspended for the first 3 games, maybe, this really opens up a possibility for Jalen Nailor in a contract year to really have a good NFL season. The X factor. I wrote a combination of 2 players, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. Because if the Minnesota Vikings defense wants to be as dominant as they hope to be, these 2 players that they spent big money on this offseason need to dominate the trenches. If the secondary wants to perform at a high level, the Byron Murphys, the Mekhi Blackmons, the Isaiah Rodgerses, if these guys want to perform at a high level, the highest level they could achieve, it's going to be because the combination of Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave are dominating the trenches. So that's my X factor. The Skull Award, hard to argue for anybody except for Harrison Smith, because he is going to retire as a Minnesota Viking and has taken less in his contract to stay with the purple, which is cool. And he'll be in the Ring of Honor. He'll be a Hall of Famer. And you think about the identity of the Minnesota Vikings, the player that bleeds the most purple. And Harrison Smith is that guy. Best newcomer, again, you could go down a couple different rabbit trails with the Jonathan Allen and the Javon Hargrave and the Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. But my name goes to Jordan Mason because it alleviates pressure from Aaron Jones. Jordan Mason will be a much better contributor than Ty Chandler. And he allows the Vikings to have a better scoring red zone threat because of his size and strength. And it allows Aaron Jones to be used sporadically throughout the game, which is going to keep him healthier and fresher. And that's why we saw Aaron Jones so fresh last year, because the Vikings were able to spread the love around between a couple of different guys. And Aaron Jones was healthy for most of last season. And with Jordan Mason in the fold, Aaron Jones should be even fresher and healthier and ready to perform at a high level. So that's the show for today. Minnesota Vikings team awards, and beware. It's beware season. So thank you for joining the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube if that's where you're watching, or follow button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening. Rate, review the show. Remember to check out 5-Star Bass Solutions in Minneapolis and Hokeland Farms. 5-Star Bass Solutions in Minneapolis will remodel your bathroom in 48 hours, give you the masterpiece, and increase value to your home immediately. And Hokeland Farms has the best rotationally grazed 100% grass-fed beef. 952-491-1541. Tell Jared you heard about it from Tim, and he'll give you a nice little discount. All right. Thank you for joining the show, and I hope everyone has a good day.